If you've been watching my short videos, you know that my goldfish Big Dookie 2.0, the goldfish known for taking super long craps over 5 times the length of his body, he is in a hospital tank. And I just wanted to make a longer video about hospital tanks and their general setup and the reasons behind why I use a heater, temperature probe, salt, methylene blue. So I just want to go into the details of all that and the benefits of setting up a hospital tank in this way. So after filling up your tank, you want to put a temperature probe in there. And the reason why I don't just use a heater and the thermostat on the heater is because those heaters can be kind of unreliable and kind of inconsistent in their temperature readings sometimes. And they're not going to keep it exactly to the temperature you set it. So you want to check the temperature with the temperature probe as well to make sure that you're actually getting that target temperature. And then after you put the temperature probe in there, you also want to put in the heater. Now for the heater, I shoot for 80 to 82 degrees for a hospital tank. Those warmer waters are going to kind of boost the metabolism of the fish, and the boost in metabolism is going to result in increased immune activity in the fish and just increased healing rate. So everything's just going to happen a little faster. Next, for the hospital tank, I add in an air stone, obviously connected to an air pump. And the reason I do not use any filtration, any sponge filters, and just an air stone in the hospital tank is because later on I'll tell you that I use methylene blue. Now methylene blue has many benefits, but one of the downsides of methylene blue is that it does kill biological filtration. So if you put a filter in here in the hopes that it's going to detoxify the ammonia and the nitrite and turn it into nitrate, well, when you add the methylene blue in there, it's going to completely undo that. So honestly, if you're going to be putting methylene blue in a hospital tank, there's really no point in putting a filter in there because that filter is going to be completely killed off and become useless after you add that methylene blue in. Now we're going to add the salt. Salt is a wonderful thing to add to a hospital tank. In virtually all cases of sick goldfish, I would recommend adding in some aquarium salt. Now there are some cases where if the goldfish has dropsy and is retaining a lot of fluid, it actually might not be beneficial to add aquarium salt to the hospital tank. Because normal salt might promote fluid retention, you actually want to use Epsom salt for a goldfish with dropsy to help draw the water out of their body. But that's a completely different discussion. For anything else like external problems, especially like what we have on Big Dookie 2.0 right now, where you have some body ulcers or body scrapes, salt is going to be your #1 friend. The salt is going to help the fish's gills function more efficiently and get in more oxygen. It's also going to help slime coat production, which has a number of benefits like decreasing the chances of getting other external infections and just increasing the healing rate of any surface damage. It also can be used to help with a goldfish with nitrite poisoning, and the salt itself makes it harder for any external pathogens to continue to grow and infect your goldfish. Because the cells of freshwater fish have to actively work to increase their internal sodium concentration, adding sodium chloride to the water is going to make them work less hard to maintain that optimal concentration. So overall, it's just going to make life for them a little bit less stressful and a little bit easier, which is exactly what you want in a hospital tank situation. Next up is the good old methylene blue. If you guys have been watching my channel for like any time, you know that I absolutely love this stuff. I use it all the time for a number of different reasons. Methylene blue is effective at fighting different kinds of external bacterial infections, fungal infections, and even some protozoal or parasitic infections. So if you don't know exactly what kind of infection is attacking the outside of your goldfish, you can just put this in here and it will more than likely help with whatever problem your goldfish has. It also decreases the stress of the fish, and this is definitely something you want in an already stressful situation of being put in a hospital tank and being sick. Now I know I said that methylene blue kills biological filtration, so you can't use a filter in here, but the one nice thing about methylene blue is that it does actually solve the problem it creates to a degree. Methylene blue decreases ammonia and nitrite toxicity, so when you have methylene blue in the water, the effects of not having a filter on the tank are going to be much lessened. So you're not going to have to worry that much about, a little bit of ammonia or a little bit of nitrite immediately killing and poisoning your fish. It actually helps solve those problems and decreases the toxicity of them. In addition to this, I would still use an ammonia and nitrite detoxifying water conditioner. I use Fritz Complete. You can also use Prime. I'm sure there's other ones on the market as well. And at least every 2 days, I would honestly do a 90% water change. Even though you have these compounds in there that are going to detoxify the ammonia and the nitrite, I've found with nice, fresh, clean water, that is going to be the best way you keep your fish healthy. So I would continually still change out that water even though you have other compounds in there that are going to be helping to keep it non-toxic. Is there anything else you need to add into the hospital tank? Well, depending on your goldfish's condition, yes. You know, if there are some very, very serious external bacterial problems, maybe you want to add a more aggressive antibiotic in there as well. If there are some internal problems, maybe you want to give it a medicated feed and feed it some medication as well. This is just as a general baseline setup for a majority of situations where you want to separate out your goldfish. This is what the baseline hospital tank should be like. But there very well may be a need to add additional things in there as well, or even modify it completely, like if you have dropsy, maybe do an Epsom salt instead of an aquarium salt. And in terms of feeding, you should continue to normally feed your fish. If they are eating, continue to feed them. They have to get that nutrition from somewhere to heal up and stay well. When you're sick, you should not stop eating. You know, everyone always tells you to continue eating. Same thing for your goldfish. If they're sick, continue to feed them. Obviously, don't try to like power feed them and like push a ton of growth out of them. Just give them a moderate amount of food so they can continue to live and heal and get better. I think that about covers everything I wanted to cover in this video. As always, I am not a vet. None of this is veterinary advice. I am just here speaking my mind on a YouTube video as an amateur that loves his fish. But yeah, obviously go and do your own research. I am just sharing some of the stuff that I do for my own fish. You are free to do with that what you want. If you're watching this video, it's likely that you have a sick fish of yourself and you're trying to figure out what you should do for it. You might even be a little stressed yourself. And you know what the best cure for human stress is? Looking at some chunky goldfish swimming. So enjoy these next couple minutes of some chunky goldfish swimming around. Good luck, and I hope if you guys have a sick goldfish out there, hope you can heal that little guy up.